Welcome, friends, to this episode of the Everyday Educator Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Bailey, and I'm excited to spend some time today with you as we ponder the delights and challenges that make homeschooling the adventure of a lifetime. Now, although this online community is awesome, you'll find even closer support in a local CC community. So go to classicalconversations.com and find a community near you today. All right, guys, I am so excited about our show today. I have two wonderful guests who are going to help you answer all the questions that you have about getting ready for foundations for the new school year. Now, Amy rolled her eyes because, yeah, we're not really going to give you all the answers. We may not even answer your most pressing question. And that's why I said, your best community is that local community that you have with the people near you. So, this is what I need for you to do. Talk to your director, talk to your tutors, talk to other parents in your community about what they do to get ready for the foundations year, about what they do when trouble arises. But we're going to try to scratch some of your itches today. Okay. Amy Jones is with us today. Amy, thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. This is such a delight. It's nice to rethink some of those foundation ideas. So thank you for starting.
Absolutely. And Amy is very encouraging. You guys, she's a wealth of knowledge because she's done this for a number of years, but she's really encouraging. So you will come away blessed. We also have Courtney Bradshaw. Courtney, thanks for making time to do this today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm ready to set all of my notes or get everything ready for myself. So I'm gleaning from you ladies today.
Yeah, Courtney is the academic advisor with CCMM for Foundations, Essentials, and Scribblers. But she's still a mom with Foundations kiddos at home. And so, like all of us, Courtney is still learning. I want to start out and just let people know who you are and that they can trust your information because you've lived it out yourself. So, Amy, I'm going to ask you first, how many school years have you prepared for?
I had to calculate, I think it was 22 years.
Woo! Okay, this is a lot of experience we're going to draw
I
on.
know. Well, you have 4 children spaced out, so you get lots of opportunities to redo, lots of
Ooh. Lots of regrouping and retrying. Is that what you're saying? Let me ask you this, and you might expound on it later on, but I feel like people are wanting to know, does it get easier to prepare for the school year as you go along?
Well, it's, homeschooling is paired with parenting. That's really what you're doing is you're parenting, and I think sometimes we segment that out and make it two categories, but it's really not. So as a parent, if you ask a parent, does it get easier? And you might say, of course, there are parts that get easier every year because you learn from your mistakes. You're growing in Christ. You and your husband have learned to work together better. So in a sense, and you've gone through some wrinkles and survived them. And so in a sense, you know what to anticipate, but you're also, parenting a moving target. So these children are growing
Yes.
and changing, and maybe their personalities, character issues change, their interests. Their so in it. I would say it's a delightful journey. I really would. It's a delightful journey. So does it get easier? Yes, in some ways, and no in others. But always there's a turn in the road that you don't expect, but God has already met you there. So
Oh, that's encouraging.
I think that's the encouragement of
Yeah. Yeah.
keeping, keep at it. So yeah.
It stays fun. It stays fresh. It's never the same journey twice. And for some people, that's encouraging, and some people, that's a little worrisome. But like Amy said, God meets you at every turn. All right, Courtney, how many school years have you prepared for?
Well, my oldest just graduated from Challenge 4, so 13.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So
Yes.
13 years we've homeschooled her from the beginning. So.
Oh, wow. So did it get easier? Is it easier for you to get ready for foundations now than it was 12 or 13 years ago?
It's easier because I know the material,
Okay.
and the easier in the preparation for me at this point, because I've trusted it and I know I've seen how I'm going to use it through all the challenge years. And so that process is easier, but I've not done this with 3
With
foundations
this children. Mm-hmm.
and a toddler. And,
Right.
so those things, like Amy was saying, the dynamics are different, the things that
Yes.
we need, how high the shelves need to be right now, because the markers, those are the things that
Yes.
are different each year.
That
That
is so true. That is very true. Even if you've done foundations before, you haven't done it with this group of kids or this age. And so we'll talk about that. Some of you listeners may have abecedarians. And so you preparing for your foundations year might look different than it does from your friend who has 2 master's students in foundations. So we'll consider those differences as well. But there's always something that keeps the journey interesting. Okay. Guys, I have always thought that it helps prepare. It helps me prepare anyway. If I sort of know what I'm getting ready for, if I've got a plan in mind and I know what my goal is, then it's easier for me to make a plan to achieve that goal. Do you guys set, some people call them family learning goals? So, Courtney, do y'all set family learning goals, or do you set individual learning goals? And have
Yeah,
you always done it the same way, or have you learned along the way to do it differently?
Oh, yes. I've learned as we grow, and even every year looks a little bit different. For us, we always, as a family, we discuss how we want to work heartily unto the Lord. So our main goal is to work hard and to contribute and to do our best, and to try to have some fun. But then there are times that we might have a student in my home. I ask them individually, do you want to try to master this year? Or, how can I help you do that? Because that's the decision the child would make. That I'm not I'm not mandating that for any of my children.
And
But I also,
and that decision might impact how often you do some things. Is that
yes,
true?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
And the schedule they would want to set, and what we would need to do. So there are some individual learning goals, that some of them have. I have some with some special learning differences.
Yep, I wanted you to talk about that because it making a plan for the family is one thing, how to work as unto the Lord. That's good. That's a goal. Or maybe the family goal is we're all going to learn something this year. Even mama and daddy are going to learn something. But you're right. If there are special learning challenges or special learning dynamics in any direction, if you've got a child that really wants to learn something that everybody else is not interested in, that's going to be extra, then that's something you have to consider. I love that. That's really good. So when you were thinking ahead to getting ready for the school year, you were thinking about your students who have some, like you said, some special needs. What do you do? Do you make a more detailed plan for them, or do you just spend time gathering resources?
Yes. So, we have a couple of different differences in my home. I have
Mhm.
one who has some sensory needs, and then I
Okay.
have one who has a definite dyslexia diagnosis, and one who's in evaluations for that right now. And so part of the dyslexia diagnosis that really comes into play for foundations for him is that he has a hard time with phonetical memory. And so he can't recall things quickly, even if he did it
Okay.
well. And so we try to talk through well, in preparation for foundations, we try to talk through, okay, how does that look during your review time? And how can I help you? Or how do we support you by talking with your tutor? Um, what can we do? And then all of my children need a lot of sensory input when they're trying to memorize. And so we really think through some of the fun movement ways that we can work at home to get to get the facts in our brains that we're it will stick.
Mhm.
Hey guys, I want to interrupt this show to tell you more about this semester's sponsor, Judson College. Judson College is such a perfect fit for CC students because they align with our Christian, classical, and community values. So as far as being Christian is concerned, Judson College equips students to give their lives for Christ's cause wherever he may call them, whether it's the marketplace or into official vocational ministry. As a confessional institution rooted in scripture, the college is committed to providing theologically and biblically sound education, which is very important to you, we know. Well, they also have a vibrant community, and that plays a vital role in the students' education at Judson College. They have small class sizes, which allow professors to intentionally invest in students, but they also have a house system where the students are allowed to have competitions, vibrant community, and deep fellowship from freshman year to graduation. Lastly, Judson College does value classical thinking. They help develop critical thinkers and equip them to engage in the conversations around them. There's a great books course, which I think is really great, and it's integrated into every single one of their undergraduate degrees. So this provides a solid foundation in human ideas through primary texts, and they're all taught through a biblical worldview so that students don't just grow as scholars, they also grow as committed Christ followers. Find out what makes the Judson College experience different at judsoncollege.com/distinctions/. Let's get back to the show.
That's really good, Courtney, that you are taking time before the year starts to plan out what you need to do so that when it's time to start, everybody knows their role. Everybody knows what help they need and what help they're going to receive. That's really good. Amy, did y'all set family learning goals or individual goals? And did you do that as part of your preparation for the year?
Um, yeah, in some ways, yes, especially when the kids were younger, just finding like listening for interest or their passion, that was always something to be aware of. And then just talking, like Courtney, just talking with about, especially when they're a little older, they reflect what kind of things they're hoping for. And we also had a child that struggled with some learning disabilities. And so one of the things that we had to do is really plan schedules. That became a thing. I had to go to different therapies or that sort of thing, just kind of being aware of what our, every Tuesday we do this, and we have to modify. And also, even the space in our home, uh, there are certain places that you could do your work, and then we were pretty careful about online things. So everything
Right?
you do online, you had to be in the common room with
The
everyone.
public area.
So
Yeah.
just being
Yeah.
mindful of just the physicality of where everybody is, their schedules, and if we were going to do extracurriculars, the children always had
See,
soccer,
that's smart.
and
Mhm.
so just for me, I could sort of had to write out a calendar.
Big calendar. Yeah, it's like a general planning a battle. You got to know where everybody is and where everybody's supposed to be. I'm so glad you brought that up. We are going to talk a little bit about like, do you need a classroom and where are you going to learn? We'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm so glad that you brought up that this is the time, as you're preparing for the year, this is the time to know that this child has piano and this child wants to play soccer if we can work it out, and this child has a therapy appointment, and this child is a cheerleader, and this child, or you are the children's choir minister, or your husband is the pastor. And it's good to go ahead and be realistic about not just your homeschooling commitments, but the commitments that might take your family out into the community, because that will absolutely impact your schooling schedule. And if you know that your family takes a long Christmas break, or that you are having an exchange student come, or you are having a long term guest in your home, you need to go ahead and realistically plan for that, how to fold that into your homeschooling year.
I think that's where the lovely thing idea about homeschooling comes into play. That as I had to learn that homeschooling wasn't just sitting at our desk, that wasn't just the only time we schooled, that what I was doing, like if they wanted to take a little class with reading with, I had one girl, so she was always gathering people,
Yes.
doing
A book club. I had one who always wanted to have a friend book club. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. So trying to see and to recognize that that's really important part of their, that is educating them or learning a skill or craft, is even like their little piano lessons and all that is part of it. So, but I also had to really, and I'm probably you do the same, Courtney, is sort out what is priority. We can't do it.
Yes. Everybody can't do everything they want because you live in a family with
Yes,
more
Right.
than one child, most of us. Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And this is the time as a family, because I was going to ask you, how do you, as the lead learner in your home, set the tone for family learning and family activities? And everybody can't do everything they want. Everybody ought to be able to do some of what they're passionate about, but nobody should expect to get to do all of the things that they want to do. And they shouldn't expect it. Even if it happens, it shouldn't be an expectation. But how do you set the tone for family learning in your home? And some of this might be a heart issue, because some of the things that we want to teach our children don't have anything primarily to do with academics. It may be teaching them how to get along, and how to show mercy, and how to help one another, and how to work as unto the Lord. How do y'all set the tone in your home? Amy, what about it?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I've done that badly at times. So I've
That's how
learned.
I know it's so important. So have I.
Yes, and it is like you hit on it. It's very important, since you are a lead learner in your home, and we do proclaim the name of Christ. That it's important that I have my understanding of what the expectations are from the Lord, and that I start. I think Delise actually uh, was talking about this in another podcast, that how her day starts before the Lord. And I think just aligning myself with him. And I really love, like the Psalm 127, where he talks about, unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain. Unless the Lord guards the city, the watchmen keep awake in vain. So even if you get up early, stay late, it says, unless the Lord is in it, it's vain, and that means it's empty. And I swirling around or being irritable or frustrated or discouraged. And I think it's really helpful to see that, the Lord is building and the Lord is guarding, and that I can follow that path with him, throughout the day. That what are some ways I'm building into my children the truth of who
Yes.
they are, and that their, schoolwork is their work. So
Right.
that's an outpouring of their heart. So,
Yes.
so how am I building? And then how am I guarding? Am I guarding their time? where they're not overtaxed. Some of my children really needed a quiet time in the day where there
Yes.
wasn't 50,000 people talking. And then I had an extreme extrovert that would have been 24/7, have guests over. So
Yes.
the
Yes.
balance, and we have,
Finding the balance.
yes, and helping them understand that we sacrifice for each other. I
Yes.
think that's really the best part
Hmm.
of homeschooling is you recognize that you're in this tiny little God-made community,
Yeah.
and that you learn the ebb and flow of how to put another's interests ahead of your own. That is such, I wish I had learned that earlier in my own life. And I think just watching them practice that over and over, like who even has the computer or who's going to sit at the table with a Mickey Mouse spoon, this morning, which we have arguments about that every morning
Of
till
course.
I threw it away. But just in recognizing that the ebb and flow, I think there are so many um, hidden lessons God is doing in your home all the time. He never stops working. He is
Yeah.
always working for your benefit. And I think relaxing and just allowing those unexpected
Mm.
turns to not snafu you or make you tense, and just not being afraid that you're not going to get it done. Just really trusting. For homeschooling for me was such a walk, a journey of faith. I had to, yeah, a journey of and trusting myself. So, Courtney, what about you? What do you?
We're
You
still
said to
learning.
tell. Yes.
Practicing patience. Because that is one thing that is hard. I mean, I have 7 children, and so 6 of them were in school like this past year. And so everyone wanting mom's
A
attention at the same
piece of
time,
you. Hmm.
plus the baby who if we're at the table, he wants to be with us, drawing on their papers or eating, because we do
Oh
school
yeah. Oh yeah.
dining room table, and
Yep.
so it just being able to figure out like where whose turn is next, who needs me now, building in time for, okay, this you can do by yourself, so you need to do this then, and just um ordering their day based on who can see mom next is
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
needed. And
Yeah.
for us, it's a good time because I have challenge students and I have essentials and foundations. And so we need to start together and
Right.
to
And
align
peel
ourselves
off.
together.
Hmm.
Yes. And then have a time where we can pray together and discuss the day. Like, hey, these are the things that we have
Right.
today.
This is
And
happening.
yes, so we have therapy or we have practice or,
Yep.
whatever. And so we need to discuss what's happening. I need to check in with my challenge students and say, how do you need me today? That's
Hmm.
because my daughters were upper challenge. We'll have
Right.
an A this next year again. So that will change that dynamic a little bit.
Right.
But upper challenge students, they had the hang of it. They
Right.
knew.
Right.
So how do you need me today? How can I help you? And then they leave. And then I know that we can start the things all that I can do together with my foundation students. And then to say, what is it that each person needs? If we've got one who we're just learning to read,
Right. That
needs my
takes time.
yes, then someone else. So I think being able to start together really does help us
Yes.
focus. And then just to slow down, because my kids sometimes really just want to rush through it so they can go
So they
play
can be
outside.
on to the next
Yeah.
thing. Play, play, play. Yeah.
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 But then in that process, then they're like, Mom, I need you right now. And
Right.
so I have to slow down sometimes.
Yeah.
And we are all still learning that. And I'm still learning, maintaining that patience with, okay,
Yes.
I can't right this minute. I will get.
And it's okay. It is okay that I have to say no in the moment. But see, it is so helpful to hear y'all as voices of wisdom and experience say these things. There are listeners that are thinking, okay, it's not just me. And
Oh,
oh,
no.
so maybe, and I'm here to tell you that's why we're having this podcast now, so that you can think ahead about what will set your family up to have a better year.
Yeah.
What can you think about and sort of plan? What seeds can you plant now that will help grow a bounteous crop? And what things can you plant that you'll just have to water a little as you go? So that's really good. There are all kinds of stages and layers of preparing for a school year, and so I don't know. Partly, I am realizing that it's kind of ambitious to think we're going to talk about all those things in this one podcast, but maybe we'll just hit the high points and then we'll touch them again later as we all really are into the daily delight of learning together. Um, there are things that we do as lead learners to prepare ourselves, and that is part of getting ready for the year. Are there things that you ladies do to prepare yourself to keep learning alongside your children? Courtney, what are some of the things that you do to prepare yourself for the school year as a learner?
Yeah. Even now, we are entering our 12th year of foundations, I think. And so I still review the articles in the curriculum just to
Oh,
remind
that's so good.
why this is important. And
Yes.
yes, it teaches me. I still learn every year. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, this is important, and this is why we do this, because while the children love the repetition,
Yes.
we don't always enjoy
Right.
that.
Well, it's really easy to think, yeah, I got it. I got it 5 times over. I've read that article and I read it another time a couple years ago. I'm good. And you're saying maybe not. Maybe you
Right.
should visit it again.
Yes. Well, and to think about it through the lens of the next child that's coming through.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's wise.
I have done this 11 times, but my
But
daughter
that child hasn't.
not. And she, looks, there are things that are different for her, and how might I do this with her? How do things look?
Yeah.
I always try to revisit that for sure, to
So
just
good.
remind myself of what foundations is. I know that most of us are past the season at this point, but practicum is so helpful. Parent practicum is so helpful to prepare yourself and to get ready for to learn new skills and to get ready for the year, but also to interact with your community. It's important in that way. And then I really try. This is a confession moment. I'm the mom that it's not done ahead of time. It will not get done at all.
And I mean, you have 7 children. I can see that. I can see that. In the moment is going to be dicey.
Yes. And so I try, I think I've seen it before, that there is no greater expectation or silly moment than a mom with a new chore schedule or something. But I love all the pretty planners. I want to set up and get myself ready, because the more I have done ahead of time, the easier the year will go. And so if I have to print anything, if I need to find something, I can do that for 6 weeks, and we are only going to do that thing for 6 weeks. And so
yes, girl.
I need to prepare myself. I need to learn what the cycle is, or what we're doing. I also need to just prepare myself to be ready to move ahead. And then I don't feel like I have to say, okay, I can't answer that right.
Yes.
Now I'm trying to play catch up all day long.
No.
Amy, did you have academic preparation steps? Were there things that you did to get yourself ready to be the teacher or the lead learner?
Yeah, I echo what Courtney said.
I know so much good stuff from Courtney.
I know, when I'm not a fly by the seat of my pants. I just couldn't be, because I was already kind of bored with chaos a lot of the time. So it just, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I know.
And really, I at that time, like, the blogs were super helpful to me because you could just go
Okay.
and
Where do you find those? Where do you find the blogs, Amy?
go to Classical Conversations website, and across the top they'll have like start here, and then they'll
Okay.
have resources, and they'll have blogs. I just find those super helpful because they're usually like a 5-minute read, and they consolidate these ideas that it's so funny because it's like the more I did CC, the more I understood why I was doing what I was doing.
Yes. Okay. The more you get the big picture, the longer you do it. It's like those paint by number things. So you
Yes.
paint a few numbers. I
I'm
paint
like,
all the ones that are this number, and yeah, it still doesn't really look like anything, but I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep painting. So
yes,
you paint some more, and eventually you think, huh, I think that's gonna be a cat. And then
yes,
eventually oh, it's a cat holding a flower. Or yeah,
yes.
Mhm.
I know. The more you do, the more you think, oh yeah, that's what I picked. I did that
It
on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, it helped me so much with the foundations because I was so new to this whole world. It sounded, if can may I say, it sounded odd to me. Like, okay, we're going to
Sure.
memorize these things about that my kids don't know anything about, like World War
Right.
II. But so how does this work? And I think every time I would read an article that gave me that whole picture, because I just get in the
Sure.
too quickly, and I would be like, trying to make sense of it, to go, oh, this is what it is. And what I also found was just watching how my kids, they were fine with it. Like, I thought, man,
Right.
they were
Right.
like better evangelists about it than I was. Like, wow, they're really good at this. And
Well, they didn't have to understand the reasons behind everything. They just
right,
loved to do
that's
it because that's how kids learn.
how that, yeah. And I think, like you were saying, Courtney, earlier, about you learn to trust the product better. You learn to trust that curriculum because you've seen how it works. And that brings you are more confident, like you are more stable. I felt like I was
Hmm.
stable. Then I could pull in one of the things I always try to do, because I am such a book person. I would have like, um, a milk crate and go and just inventory resources. Like, okay, what books can I put in we're going to do American history. I'm going to pull all those books and stick them in a thing. So, and carry them around sort of from room to room.
Right.
You really
Right.
never do anything, but they would always be available. Like, trying to pull resources together, um, for the news cycle. That was always kind of fun for me. And I didn't have like a fancy planner, but I always had like some kind of planner, like you, Courtney. I had to have a calendar, family calendar, because Christmas doesn't change if you're not finished with CC.
Right.
It's so funny. You can't
Yeah.
reschedule that. So
Right.
just have a good calendar and not be perfectionistic about it. It can have
Right.
nice remarks, and I think giving yourself grace in that planning mode, but knowing that you've done something toward the end of, toward getting, that foundations off to the right start. So those blog articles helped me just renew my vision, like, oh, or taught me a vision, actually. And then I didn't have the Everyday Educator podcast, or any of the podcasts, like the Words Aptly Spoken podcast, or some of the Math Map podcasts, or those, that they have for CC, that, you just stick it on in the kitchen while you're cooking, and you can hear, um, talking about something that you go, oh, that's a good idea. Or it just encouraged me. Like, there are other moms out there doing the same thing I'm doing. And so I tried to do replenish, but really what helped me the most, is to have a partner, is to find another
Oh, that's
mom and
good.
say,
Yeah.
hey, can we get together and get it? I wish I'd done this earlier. I didn't do it. To schedule earlier, I scheduled a teacher work day. Like, this is my teacher work day. And I would get
Great
child,
idea.
and I would go somewhere else. I
Uh-huh.
would just wash the dishes or clean out a closet. And I'd go somewhere else with my stuff and drag it into Panera and sit there and just think and pray and think and pray, and just kind of sort what needs to happen. And sometimes I'd meet a
Yeah.
friend for lunch. Like, okay, I'm going to get all this done before Karen shows up.
Yes, yes.
It's
That's
sort of,
so good.
but I wish I had done that. I wish I'd said more earlier to say, because I tried to do it in bits and scrapes, and
Sure,
you
sure.
drag all that stuff out, and the kids get into it, and then you lose
Right.
everyone wants to use the post-it notes, and you cry,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
face.
Yes, yes, yes. That's
Uh,
why we have this podcast, so we can save moms from the pits that we fell into, and so that we can keep learning together. I love a bunch of the stuff that you suggested. My favorite thing is because I think a lot of us don't remember there are all kinds of online resources for us as parents as we get going. And you mentioned the blogs, there are podcasts, there are book clubs. But Courtney, as an academic advisor, you know some of the things that have been created for tutors and parents. So talk about that. Where can Foundation's parents find help and support?
The Learning Center holds a wealth of information for parents, and it's divided weekly, so you can find the audio. There are interactive tutorials that where you can have it play like the timeline song, and it'll show the pictures as it's playing. Um, and there's also like a Foundations at Home video that would, if you miss a week, I mean, that's sometimes difficult.
Gotcha.
You've got kids who are sick, and
Right.
it'll kind of show you, give you some ideas of things that they can do. There are wonderful articles in the Sandbox easing, in each week that can help. Hey, how can we play with this memory work this week, or what are some
Oh,
things? My favorite resources are actually found in the Scribblers tier of the Learning Center. The Our Story
yeah.
goes a little bit deeper into the history sentences and take a
Mhm.
look to look further into the science memory work. I feel like I don't have to go somewhere else to find more for history and science,
Right.
because it's right there. Those are available for parents, and then tutors have what we call weekly helps, also in CC Connected. And just to give you some ideas of what you could do on Community Day, really to keep those stick in the sand ideas,
Yes.
will not have to prepare so much or read a
Mhm.
script,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Yes,
science
yes.
or art. Really just to kind of keep the focus simple. And
Hey, did you know that the CC Plus program includes an undergraduate studies program? That's right. Students that graduate from the Challenge program are able to continue their studies in the CC Plus undergrad program. It uniquely allows students to continue practicing classical education skills that other college programs abandon. It gives CC graduates exactly what they're looking for while maintaining their foundational purpose of knowing God and making Him known. Students can design a unique undergrad experience at an affordable, fully accredited Christian university, SEU, in Lakeland, Florida. There are just a few steps to get started, and earning a college degree as a homeschooler or even a homeschool parent has never been easier. You can learn more at classicalconversationsplus.com and click on undergrad.
I like that, Courtney, because I do think that all the CC Connected resources, I wish I'd had them then.
I know, because like Amy, when our kids were in foundations, there was none of that. There was
No.
none of that. And so it's not, okay, moms and dads, um, it's not an excuse for you to stop digging and finding things on your own, okay? So CC Connected is not it doesn't exist so that you don't have to do anything. It exists so that it will whet your appetite and give you a starting point. But it is a huge help for moms and dads, especially ones who are new to classical education or
Right.
new to classical conversations, or who have a bunch of kids who want more and want more. And you only have so much time every day. We only get so much time. So they're wonderful helps that I definitely think you should check out. So that's really good. Those are good things to collect. Now, what are some other materials? What are some obvious and not so obvious resources that we could spend a few weeks collecting now that would help us as we get into the new school year? Courtney, what are some of those things we should be looking for?
Well, obviously, we need our foundations curriculum.
Amen, sister. Yep. You got to
And
have it.
a tin whistle is helpful.
Yep.
Not right away. You don't have to get it today, but you're going to need that by week 7.
And every child needs their own, correct?
Yes. And if you're like me, every child needs their own. And you need to go ahead now and kind of discover the place where you want to tin whistle. So designate a section, if you want to allow them to practice and play at home, but maybe say, hey, we can't do that during the baby's nap time, so we're going to leave them here.
Right.
Because they will want to play.
Oh yeah.
And then you may find yourself purchasing new tin whistles each year if you because they go missing. So you go ahead and find a spot for your tin whistle or tin whistles if you're like
I found mine just the other day, and my children are grown. So,
did you play it, Lindsay?
I did. That's so embarrassing, but yes, I did in the basement where nobody could hear me, though. So,
it is so fun. I mean, it is fun.
It is.
It's like and it comes back to you.
It's so funny. Right? It's muscle memory, I guess.
Yes. Well, and I love school supplies. It's my favorite thing. And all of my children love school supplies. So just like you said, Amy, when your post-it notes go missing, index cards, copy paper, all of those things, I just buy new for all of them. And my kids, I have shower caddies. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah. With the little compartments and a handle. Yep.
Yes. So we have those for our art caddies, and each kid has one.
Yes.
With their own.
So good. Yes.
So the ones that break the crayons, but the ones that want them perfect.
Right.
Keep them separate.
That's right. And everybody always has a pink, and it's your pink, and nobody else uses it.
Right. Yes. And your glue stick or your scissors, although we can't ever keep scissors or rulers in my house. Those are the 2 things that go missing all the time. But that to me is super helpful, is to have everybody has their own, but not everybody is like that. A lot of families up here have their own system.
They have one caddy and people just grab from it. Yeah.
Yes. It just works better for my house to have them.
Sure.
Have their own. Maps are nice to have, or some way, either make a copy from the curriculum. We like the trivium tables and the placemats in our house so that it is dry erasable, whatever, because
that's key.
I don't want to make copies every day if we're going to, and we like to trace maps at home and not just point. I mean, we do point, but going ahead and getting them, and especially for a master's student or an older foundation student. And so to have, whether it's a copy in a page protector, is like, it's dry erasable so that we can do those a lot. But those are my main things that I want to make sure everybody has access to every day.
Yes, that's good. And it's good to go ahead and think about that now while you still have time to find good sales, and you can still order things from Amazon or from the CC bookstore and have them arrive well before you're ready to use them. Amy, different ones of us have said stuff about where our children do their schoolwork and where we are together and when they go off, and in public spaces and individual spaces. Did y'all have a dedicated room in your house that was a school room? Does everybody need a school room?
No, we went through various stages.
Yes. Okay.
For my littlest ones, we just usually were around the kitchen table. That got a little old because every time we ate, we had to
You had to clean up. Yeah.
table. Or since we're in the kitchen, why don't we eat while we're in
Right.
our
Right.
space? So we had a little room. We had a small house, so we had a small room with a table, and that became our homeschool table. And then as we kind of got we kind of did school in different places around the house. Like we started our devotion in a quiet, like sitting on the couch where our Bibles were, our hymnals where I used to sing, and they usually had some kind of drama day was Friday and instrument day was Wednesday. So that's when there was just a pile of scarves and whatever and stuff. But we would gather there, like Courtney was saying, first thing in the morning. That was our touch point. So we did that, and and that was a great like mental thing. Like here we sit. This is what this space is for.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and it kind of kick started our day. Then
Yeah.
we could kind of based on who needed what go to the table. I call it table work because we're all
Right.
sitting around the
Right.
table.
Sure.
Or I didn't really start with story read alouds first because everybody got all like
Right.
all
And then it was hard. And nobody ever wants to stop
and
that to go do a math thing or to learn to read. Yeah. That needs to be the carrot that you hold out. Hmm.
we did something that was to strain our brain a little bit. We
Yeah.
needed some fresh starts, and that was usually around the table at the table. And then the kids would sort of pair off or peel
Uh-huh.
off, I guess, to go do their things. But we did have spaces in the house that were set aside for school. Not you can't take over your whole house, but there were spaces that you could go work quietly. I think that was the thing. Like we had always a toddler that was
Right.
grabbing,
Reaching for stuff. Yeah.
and they could go and work. And if you went into the room where we had devotions, that was a signal for everyone else to kind of leave me alone. I want to sit
Mhm.
quietly because I did have a couple of children that needed, please don't talk to me right now. Yeah, I need to be quiet. I need to be reading. I mean, it just took a lot of
I mean, there's
concentration.
some things that take I can remember when I was learning logic so that I could tutor
Mhm.
8th graders, my kids knew if I'm at the table and I keep my and you come in the room and I don't raise my head up, then
Yeah,
you need to back away
yeah.
slowly because that means I'm in the middle of something like logic and I can't break the thought or it's going to break the whole thing.
And you want movement too. So you want a space where
Yes.
if
Yes.
doing your memory work, you do want it to be fun. So a place that they can move around and that sort of thing.
Here
Yeah.
is the thing that I want to encourage parents. You do not have to have a dedicated schoolroom. Lots of us started at the kitchen table and some of us finished at the kitchen table. But there are good places to do different things all around the house. And so you do what works for you. It is good to have a space that's dedicated to holding at least your everyday supplies so that
Hmm.
you don't have to send people on a huge treasure hunt every morning so that you can get started. So
Hmm.
they had my girls when they were little had boxes and they were on a shelf in the kitchen, and all I had to say was get out your box and get out
Yes.
your lapboard.
Mhm.
Because after a few years of them doing all of their writing, I still have that kitchen table. And you stand when the sun is just right, you can read all the work that we ever did on the top. So we got boards and boxes. So that's
Mhm.
really good. So we've talked about preparing ourselves. We've talked about preparing with supplies and our environment. Courtney, how do you prepare your kids for the school year? Lots of us are now coming up on they're just a few weeks. How do we
Mhm.
help our kids transition from the laissez-faire of summer back to the academic year? How do we help our kids get ready for a new school year?
I think it's hospitable to our kids to step in slowly. If
Yes.
we do things, we have like a checklist. I have a digital calendar, and they get and earn rewards based on their chores and that. But we keep that going all summer long. But we do try to pick up the pace. So there are things there's not no TV, no screens until after such is finished. So, and that's during the school year. That's until schoolwork is done, and everyone is finished with school because, or everyone who has to do school at the table is finished.
Yes.
Because we
Okay.
have an open concept house, and so the
Right.
only places with doors are bedrooms, and so there's no room to go into to be separate from someone else. So, we want to make sure that we get certain things done, and so we might just ease in with reading,
Mm-hmm.
um, or math. We start that, but I also like to, when we're really sitting down and saying, okay, community day is a week away, or
Right. Okay.
begin like that. There's a week at a glance
Oh,
page
yes.
curriculum, and it has a picture on it. So there's one with all the words, and then there's one with a picture with a few bubbles, right? And so I try to make a copy of that or pass it around and say, okay, this is what this cycle is about. So we can read it together, or you look it over. Tell me what looks familiar. Tell me
Mm-hmm.
what looks unfamiliar, because if they've done CC before or foundations before, but they have not done cycle 2,
Mm-hmm.
mine's going to feel familiar, and math is going to be familiar to them. But they may not have done, some of these, learned some of these things. Most of them have heard it because we've been doing it their whole lives, but, but I ask them, what is familiar, and so it gives them a chance. Like, what are you excited about?
Yeah.
And then we
Right.
also start to prepare for the first week. You need a presentation. So on day 1, so we talk about how to introduce ourselves to our new group,
Oh,
and
how good.
those are some things you can do with your kiddos to prepare just for week 1 of foundations. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
ease into it. Just maybe add a new subject
Yes.
today, or a new subject
Yeah.
if you've got
Yeah.
time.
Or begin working in the whole idea of bedtime. If the routine relaxed for summer, you may have to encourage them to approach the new getting up time with
Yes.
cheerful hearts.
Yes.
And then the new going to bed routine, or just the routine of there being a schedule at all. That I remember that being hard, to go from the um, most of every day is free for my imagination
Mm-hmm.
to, okay, so there are certain times that mama is going to expect me to do fill in the blank, something different.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really good. There are all kinds of ways that we can prepare for the coming school year, and prepare ourselves and our homes and our supplies and our children, for what the Lord has to bless us with in the coming weeks. And so, Amy and Courtney, thank you so much for talking to me. I know that our listeners are glad to have fellow moms and grandmoms in the trenches with them, preparing for this next school year. And y'all have given us lots of really good, actionable ideas that I think it's going to help us all have a better year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa.
We appreciate you guys. Blessings on everyone's school year. Okay. See you guys next time. Bye bye.